Hello everyone, my name is Indira. I'm from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and I'm here to tell you all about major sport events. Hello everyone, welcome back to this last part of the videos and about Rio 2016 Olympic Games. So now I'm gonna tell you some of the stories that happened during my shift that I find nice to share. And I want to share a story about one volunteer that we had. We had actually a very nice group on the shift. We were in the morning shift and we were 10 protocol volunteers, besides arrived departures and transport people. And there was one, she was very small, very petite. She looked like she was 13, I swear to God. She looked like a child. And there were times that we receive a lot of people, so we delegate every volunteer to receive a different client, okay? So we were expecting a former NBA player from Croatia, I think. She was the president of National Olympic Committee from Croatia. His name was Divac. Let me see his name. Vlad Divac. And he was a former NBA player with 2 meters and 16 centimeters. And she was, I don't know, 1 meter and probably 53, something like that. Anyway, she asked me if she could welcome him, and I was like, of course. And we were all expecting him because we were all curious. And she went with his plate. I don't have his plate anymore, probably she kept waiting at the door of the airplane. So we were all sitting, all the doors were close to each other, so we were all expecting, and many people were coming from the same, also same airplane, same flight, okay? So I remember she was like this, holding the plate like this because it was very tall, and so she was very petite. She was holding like this the plate, so it was very fun. We were laughing a lot, all of us, and we were together with arrives at departures also, and everybody wants to see him. And then he came. He was coming. We could see from far away, and then he was so tall that he could not get out, so he did that thing like that to come out from the plane, and we were all holding ourselves not to laugh. And he saw that girl like this and he said, "It's me," and she was like, "Really?" It was so funny. So they started to walk together, and the difference of the size was hilarious. And they were in directed to the luggage. Okay, so everybody was walking direct to the luggage. We kind of follow, because the whole thing was very funny. And she couldn't see the luggage, so she asked him, don't you want to come closer? And then he was like, really, he was so tall, it's unbelievable. He was like, no, that's fine, I can see from here. So we were laughing even harder. It was so funny. We wanted to take a picture, but we are divided so much not to take pictures. But that moment really deserved a picture. And unfortunately, we didn't take, but we wanted really hard to take a picture of this moment. That was a priceless moment. I think everybody that worked with me remember that moment. It was funny, and we love it. Every time we get together, we remember about this, and it was priceless. Another situation that I love to remember, in this time that we share everybody, there was a guy that called Andrea Vigano. He was Italian. And there was one of the volunteer that she was very smart girl. She spoke fluently, completely fluent, 4 languages: Italian, French, English, Spanish, completely fluent. And then She wants to receive, to welcome this Andrea Vegano, and she wants to see his face, how he looked like, and she threw on the internet and IOC or something like this, and he was a gorgeous man. I was like, seriously, gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. She was all excited, and then she got his plate, and then she was with Andrea Vegano. And I always kept a cup of the plate with me, in case something would happen and miss, and I would have to be the plan B. Okay, so I wasn't never responsible for no one. I was coordinating everybody. In case something happened, I would be the plan B. Anyway, she went to the door, to the door of the airplane to receive the Andrea Vegano, and she was there waiting, And nothing come out. I wasn't close to them this time, and she sent a raid and said nobody came and nothing happened. But I had to call São Paulo, that where the plane came from, and they said no, he boarded. So I know he boarded, and I was okay. He boarded, so he came. Something happened. He came. Maybe he went to the other airport. This happened often with us. And then I was like, okay, so this airport is small. He's not gonna go by his own to the airport, because it's to the hotel, because it's really far, and Rio is not an easy city to go around by yourself. So he's not gonna go anywhere. So let's wait. And and she was very frustrated because she was dreaming about receiving the guy and talk her Italian that haven't talked a while. And then I was waiting with my phone and, trying to find out with the other airport, is Andrea Vegano there, and blah, blah, blah. And then came this boy. He probably was maybe 8 years old, and touched my plate like that. And then I was looking, very little. I was like, hi. And then he touched himself like this, And I was like, yes, darling. And then he would do again. He didn't speak English, only Italian. And I was like, Andrea. And then he did like this. And I was like, Andrea, is you? Then he's like, yes. And I was like, how come? We only, and then I was thinking to myself, how can he be Andrea Vegano if we only deal with protocol people? So protocol people usually is IOC member, NAC president, those kind of people. And he's a child, so I'm quite sure we still don't have a child as an IOC member or a NAC president or president of any federation. But he kept doing this. And then I showed him my accreditation, and I said, and he picked it up in his bag and he showed me. So, voila, he was Andrea Vegano. And then I was like, okay, so let's provide the service. So I went to and everybody was looking at me with these smiles like, what the hell is going on? And I was like, okay, let's get you to your accommodation. And I took him to the accommodation, and he had his grandparents with him. So he was a child, and he had his grandparents with him that they were not in our list. So he had the right of transportation, but his parents, they were not in our list, so they were not our guests. But since they were together, I'm not gonna separate them, it's just common sense. So we took them to the transportation, we figured out, we sent them to the hotel, and that's it. That's our job, not question the system. And then later on, we find out that when an IOC have a guest And when the guest is a child, they ask protocol to assist them so they don't get lost in the middle of the confusion. You know, they don't lose a child in the middle of the confusion, because it's very confused when a lot of people arrive together. So this is a privilege they give you when the IOC has a guest that's a child. So since he was a guest and he was a child, we provide this service, okay? And it's not that he was an IOC or an NAC president. It was just an exception of the rule. So we find out that, and we understood why we were provide the system, provide the service for him. And the girl continued very frustrated. And we were like, yeah, he was actually cute, you know, maybe waiting like 20 years, you can actually have a nice conversation with him. But I don't think he liked the joke. Anyway, that was also a very funny situation. And another one that was interesting that happened, it was actually with a regular passenger. This guy from Russia, he spoke English very well. He came and he asked me for help. He said, he showed me an address of an Airbnb that he would stay in Rio. And to me, the address that he was going to stay, it was kind of dangerous. So he said, how can I get there? And I even didn't know how to get there, and I'm from Rio. And I was like, wow. And it's not a place that you had the metro that leave you right there. So it's not something that's very easy to get there. You have to get many transportation to get there. So I was concerned about this guy. So he had a phone, and I called the guy that would be his host, and the guy did not speak English. So I was like, oh my God, this place is harder to get it, and the guy doesn't speak English. How this guy's gonna survive? Anyway, there was, you know, I was like, are you sure you wanted to go there? So I was like, maybe I can get you a place to stay closer here, you know, safer. It was like, no, that's fine. I'm Russian, you know, Russians, they are very courageous. So anyway, what I could do for him and what I did for him, I helped him to set up, to buy and set up a SIM card. And I told him, so anywhere you go that you need to get information, you let the person talk to me and I pass the information to you. So that's how I can help him. So we did that to him. And my colleagues that were working with him help him to get to the transportation that he needed to get to his place. So that's what we could do for him. Anyway, we kept in touch. He got to this place, he survived, and that's it. He was from Russia, that's what I knew about him. He was working in the Russian house. That's what happened in the Olympic. Every country make a house with their traditional things. They bring their athletes, and it's a nice place. Later on, he invited us to go to the Russian house. It was nice. He exchanged with us some things. He was a nice guy. Why am I telling all that? Because in 2018, I went to volunteer in Russia. And I did not go to Moscow or St. Petersburg, some, you know, places like tourists go, you know. I went to a place that probably no tourists, at least from this side of the world, go. I went to Volgograd, that not many people knows unless they are from there. And when I went to my venue to work, believe me or not, the guy that was the security manager from this venue, it was this guy that I helped in Rio. So the one person from Russia that I met in my life in Rio, it was the guy that was managing a venue from a random place, and there were more than 10 different places in Russia that I could be, and I ended up being in the same place that the guy. So this is one of the things that you can imagine that's gonna happen, and it happened. So he introduced me to everybody, and Russians, they are very serious, you know, they very suspicious person, you know. They have their way to trust, they take a while to trust people. But the way he introduced me to everybody there was like, that's the girl that saved my life in Rio. And everybody was very warm and welcomed me there. So my experience in Russia was such a wonderful experience that everybody says that Russia a little bit cold and this and that. And not for me. I had the best experience I could possibly imagine in Russia. So that was also an amazing experience I had. Being in the airport in Rio, and it was super busy, and we started before many other volunteers that work in the venues, they saw the games, they saw the atlas, they saw everything. Uh, I didn't see one game, not even on TV because there was no time. But still, I love it. I love the team. I love the energy. I love to be the first impression everyone was having of the games. I loved everything about the airport. I love to work at the airport. Many games I still do. I don't stay till the end, arrives and departures. I only work at the arrivals because after the rush, there is a rush that everybody arrives, it gets very slow. And then that slow part I don't like too much. You know, it's too slow. I like very dynamic things, so I change positions. So that's the good thing about being a volunteer. When you're a staff, so if you work as a staff in arrivals, departures, or transport, or protocol, you need to stay the whole time, 1 month, 2 months, at the same position. Since I'm volunteer most of the time, I ask them, I want to work in another place that now is busier. And they allowed me most of the time because I have experience. So I'm very lucky about everything that has happened to me. And the experience has a lot on you also. You know, if you're gonna be frustrated because, oh, come on, I didn't see any games, or, you know, I didn't see any venues, maybe for an international person that wants to come to see the games in Brazil, maybe they would not like to be at the airport. I love it. I love it. I love it. The team we were so much fun. Everything we did was so much fun. The experience, all these people, all the dynamic, the rush, the mistakes. We make a lot of mistakes. The flexibility, the rules, everything was amazing, and I loved my experience. One thing I forgot to tell was what the volunteer don't get is we don't get, and the international don't get airplane tickets. So no volunteer ever get airplane tickets. No game that I heard about it, and no game that I've been part of. And in Rio de Janeiro, no accommodation whatsoever. Some games that I've been part of, they give accommodation, but in Rio de Janeiro, no game, no accommodation whatsoever, okay? So I guess that's all. Oh, no. I forgot to tell you. The last departure of the game. Since I was a coordinator, a leader, I never actually participate of one welcome, one guest specifically. But at the last day, everybody has gone, all the volunteer was gone, and there was a last departure. It was this couple from Africa, Sam and Helga Hansami. So they were a couple from Africa, and they were leaving. So that's the departure manifest. It's similar to the arrival manifest. So I was like, okay, let me help them. And then I came into transport and I say, listen, I put on the internet, and then I was from Africa, and somehow, I don't know why, I imagine that all the Africans are black and big, big guys, you know, I don't know why I imagine that. And then I showed to the transport people, and they said he just arrived. And then I ran after him and I said, "Hi, my name is Indira. I'm here to assist you in your departure." It's like, "Oh, okay, fine." And he was a very sweet guy. And opposite of what I imagined, I thought he was big and black, and he was very petite, much like here on me. And he was not black, he was Indian characteristics, so his family is from India, okay. And then his wife, who was really tall, she's a former basketball player, Olympian actually, white, blue eyes, so actually she can look more like South African than he can, as they been colonized by England, okay. And then they were like super sweet, and then I helped them with their check-in, and then they were like 4 hours before their departure. And I was like, okay, so you guys are very early, so what are you gonna do till your departure? And there is no much stores to look there, but there is a little mall. And I said, I can take you there. And they were like, if it's not gonna bother you. And I said, sure, not. And also there is a rooftop there with, you can see the Jesus Christ in Brazil and the sugar loaf. So it's a beautiful, beautiful image in Brazil. And I said, we can take some pictures there. And then I was like, okay, let me enjoy their company. So I went with them and we took pictures. I actually made a cartoon of the picture we made. I'm gonna try to find the picture later on, but that's what I made of the cartoon. Has the, look, that's us. And that's him, the man that changed my life, San Sam. That's him with Mandela, that he calls a father. He's an icon in the sport. It's really beautiful, his story. So we went over there to take some pictures, and we got to talk, and he talked about his background from India and my background from India. And up to that moment, he never had read my name, that my name is Indira from India. And we got a lot, in common. I don't know, we just connect. It was something magical. He's 40 years older than me, but we just fall in love. Me and them, not him, because he's a couple. They are like a match, one person. It's amazing how they complete each other. It's like my husband and I. And so, and then he told me, why don't you come to be my assistant in the Paralympic Games? I'm coming back. And I actually, at the beginning, I did not think about work at the Paralympic Games, because I used to run half marathons as an amateur, but I love it, and I was going to Argentina to run the half marathon in Buenos Aires, so I was not planning to work for the Paralympic Games. But then when he said that, I was like, okay, so it would be nice. But I wasn't sure if he was talking serious or was just small talk. So he gave me his card, and he said, right? I said, okay, fine. And then we talked, and then we went for chocolate. I introduced him my manager, and there was also a volunteer with us that was from South Africa, so they got to talk, So it was nice. And we become friends. And then I wrote him, and he wrote me right back. You know, he said, that's the day I'm coming, and it'll be great to have as my assistant. And we got to talk. So I asked the organization to change my position, and I asked also my manager to let me go. You know, he was like, you are great, you're gonna be fine anywhere. So he authorized me to change position. And I asked the Olympic family, in this case, Paralympic family assistant manager to accept me. She accepted me. And then that's the subject for another video, okay? So that's it for Rio 2016 Olympic Games. Thank you so much for watching. That's my story. That's how everything started. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I hope you like it. And I hope to see you next video. Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. See you.